let's say you have a right brain introvert, or as I like to call those dogs, a sensitive soul. Um, Maybe they don't feel safe to move. Maybe they're not disregarding you. They're like, I'm not feeling comfortable to move. And as a right brain instinctual dog that doesn't like to move their feet, sometimes they freeze. And that freezing isn't anything to do with the fact they can't hear you. They can't hear the words that you're saying. They're not being stubborn, right? They just can't move. Or in contrast to that, let's say you have a left brain introvert, or as I like to call them, the calm thinker. They are actually looking at you going, what's in it for me? Like they're the ones that are thinking about, they're weighing the pros and cons. They're like, I don't know if I come, it's the end of fun things. I don't think I want it to be the end of fun things. I'm content just lying here on the lawn. Like that's what's going through their heads. So they're like, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And if they decide that you are not more fun or better than what they are currently doing, they're going to decide to just not do it. Not do it. So it can look maybe similar, the freezing when they ask to come or the ignoring you when they should know, but it's wildly different based on the dogonalities. Oh, we're getting to know your dog at a much deeper level. We're talking about 3 signs you're misunderstanding your dog, how to fix it based on your dog's dogonality. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It's Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. I am just going to jump right into it. I'm going to ask the question, have you, my dog-loving friend, have you taken the Dogonality quiz? Have you taken the quiz? Have you gone to beyondobedience.ca/quiz and taken the Dogonality quiz? Because if you haven't, you should. You just should. Why haven't you? Why wouldn't you do that? Do that. It's fun. It's fun. Quizzes are fun. Are you someone that likes to take quizzes? I can't pass up a quiz. I can't pass up the quiz. You know those quizzes where you're just like, what's your spirit animal? And you're like, in the end, you're even trying maybe to answer the questions because you want to get like, I'm the majestic wolf. And then you end up with the honey badger and you're like, that's probably more realistic, Or you're like, what type of friend are you from the show Friends? And you're like, I'm hoping that I'm Phoebe because I'm fun and quirky. And meanwhile, you get Monica because turns out you've got some OCD issues about cleaning. Those kind of things. They're fun. They're fun. Well, this is one for your dog. And we're not going to take it too seriously, right? We're not going to take it too seriously. But if I'm being honest, I didn't just create it to be fun. I did create it as a way to help people get to know their dog and then get to figure out how they can be the best person for their dog's dogonality. We already know that there's like no one size fits all training, which is true. In the dog training industry, we say things like, you got to train the dog that's in front of you, right? You can't go in with a preemptive script and this is how all dogs learn, because we know that is not the case. But I don't know whether or not, that's fine for dog trainers who've been studying dog behavior and all that kind of stuff. But for maybe you, my dog loving friend, maybe you have always had a certain type of dog or always had a certain type of breed. And now all of a sudden you're like, hey, the kids are gone. I'm going to go with this breed. And it's completely blown your mind. You're like, I don't even know how to deal with this dog. It's a completely different dog personality. And so I wanted to give people a little bit of a way to not only figure out maybe what kind of dog they have, what their dog's dogonality is, but then also give them the tools to help reach those dogs at a deeper level, bond with them at a deeper level to really, truly, fully understand them. And that's kind of the goal behind it. So it is fun. And I don't want you to take it too seriously. I know that with every quiz, there's going to be answers where you're like, I'm not really sure how to answer that one. So you pick the best one. And maybe the results you get aren't quite what you expected. And as I mentioned before in previous podcasts, if that's the case and you get an answer and you're like, I don't think that's my dog at all, just respond to the email and tell me why. And we can kind of, talk it out a little bit, and I can send you the right info for what I think your dog is. But I'm hoping that the quiz works out pretty well. I'm hoping. Anyway, I digress. The point is, today, I wanted to talk about 3 signs that you're misunderstanding your dog and how to fix it. And the reason why I asked you if you took the quiz is I'm going to be using some of the different dogonalities as examples to kind of prove how differently you need to show up for your dog, if that makes sense. So it's going to be fun. And of course, the misunderstandings, this isn't to point fingers and be like, you just don't get your dog. It's more about these are common misunderstandings that I see all the time. And we're going to talk about how to fix it. All right. Sign number 1 that you are misunderstanding your dog is that you think they're being stubborn, or as I like to call this, it's the they should know better syndrome, right? And I know, because I've been known to do this too, where I'm like, you know better than that. It's where you say things like, my dog knows how to come when they're called, or my dog knows how to sit, and now they're just not sitting. You're like, they're just being stubborn, right? That's you. They know this, or we've done this before. And maybe they're just sitting there staring at you or ignoring you, or worse, walking away. Walking away is the worst. Actually, no. Walking away isn't the worst for me. It's when they stare at me. Nike is known for this, where she's sitting on the lawn and I'm like, Nike, let's go. And then she just stares at me. I think you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I would feel better if she was looking the other way or sniffing, because I'd be like, she's just distracted. It's when they stare at you. I hear those words you're saying, but I'm making a choice and it's not you. And you're like, they should know better. We've done this. But often this isn't defiance. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's overwhelm or stress. So for example, let's say you have a right brain introvert, or as I like to call those dogs, a sensitive soul. Maybe they don't feel safe to move. Maybe they're not disregarding you. They're like, I'm not feeling comfortable to move. And as a right brain instinctual dog that doesn't like to move their feet, sometimes they freeze. And that freezing isn't anything to do with the fact they can't hear you. They can't hear the words that you're saying. They're not being stubborn, right? They just can't move. Or in contrast to that, let's say you have a left brain introvert, or as I like to call them, the calm thinker. They are actually looking at you going, what's in it for me? They're the ones that are thinking about, they're weighing the pros and cons. They're like, I don't know, if I come, it's the end of fun things. I don't think I want it to be the end of fun things. I'm content just lying here on the lawn. That's what's going through their heads. So they're like, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And if they decide that you are not more fun or better than what they are currently doing, they're going to decide to just not do it. Not do it, right? So it can look maybe similar, the freezing when they ask to come, or the ignoring you when they should know, but it's wildly different based on the dogonalities, okay? Sign number 2, that you might be misunderstanding your dog. And it sounds a little bit similar, but sign number 2 is that you think they're ignoring you and you're taking it personally. Okay, so a little bit of the same, stubborn, ignoring you, but you're taking it personally, right? You call them, they don't respond, and you start to get a little bit upset with them because you're like, it's me. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me, right? And it may not be. And I wanted to talk about this in particular, using 2 different ones, because let's look at if, for example, we have a right brain extrovert that's a fearless explorer, right? They're right brain, but they are confident and they are engaged in the environment, and they're all up in their prey drive, just doing the thing. And you're calling them and they're ignoring you. And you're taking it personally. Don't take it personally. Again, they're right brain. They can't hear you. and they're in their environment. And it's not personal. They're not like, I don't want to. They're actually like, I can't hear you because I am so in my environment. Okay. Whereas, let's say your left brain extrovert, the life of the party dogs, the environment is constantly calling to them as well. But that's probably a leadership thing. It's a leadership thing because these guys are thinkers. So they're thinking and they're not listening, right? So I would approach that differently. The first thing that we do to fix that, though, is we have to stop taking it personally. Understand that it's not about you, right? And then work through leadership throughout the day, not just through the stressful moments, but throughout the day. How can we build better leadership throughout the day so that they understand that no matter what, you have to come when you're called. No matter what, you have to pay attention to me, even if you're in prey drive. If we're talking about those, right brain extroverts, those fearless explorers that are in prey drive, how can you trump prey drive? That's a hard one. I'm not gonna lie, that's a hard one. But let's figure it out. Tap into their fulfillment needs. Tap into curiosity-based interactions. There's lots of different ways to start to work on it outside of the event. But the big thing for that one to fix it is you have to stop taking it personally. It's not personal. It's not personal. Okay. And I do believe that the key to this about not taking it personally is what is important, because when we take things personally, we come at the dog with an attitude. We come at the dog with a like, you should know better kind of a thing. And that vibe is not going to be conducive for them to want to bond and connect with you. It's not a good leadership move, right? Like, it's not a good leadership move. You're coming at a dog being like, you should, you're like, you're just completely ignoring me. It's not a good leadership vibe, and you're going to be losing points, and you're not going to make your point. You know what I'm saying? So don't take it personal. Figure it out. Figure out what kind of dog you have, why it is that they're so engaged in the environment, not paying attention to you, and then you're going to come at it from a different angle. Okay. And then the third sign that you might be misunderstanding your dog is that you think that they're being aggressive. That reactivity, you're like, my dog's aggressive, but really they're stressed or they're unsure. So this looks like your dog that barks, growls, lunges. And it's very easy for us to just be like, my dog's being aggressive, and you feel like your dog's being aggressive. And that feeling that your dog is aggressive makes you defensive. Okay. But what if it's not aggression at all? Like, what if it actually is stress or fear and they're feeling unsure? Often that label that we gave them as aggression is actually a stress response that has been completely misunderstood. So how do we fix it, right? First and foremost, for fixing this, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, and I know before I say it, I'm going to say people are going to hate me for saying this, because when you have a dog that is reactive, I know and I get the frustration that is built around that. It's embarrassing. The walks are no fun. You get injured. Your dog pulls you off your feet, all that stuff. But I will say the way to truly fixing it is to stop focusing on fixing the actual behavior, like the lunging or the barking, right? And people are like, but I just need it to stop. And I get that. I get that. But hear me out, okay? Because when we focus on fixing just the symptom, which is the lunging and the barking, and don't get me wrong, you can, but you're gonna also probably, well, maybe you guys won't, because you know me, but for me, that becomes an equipment thing. That becomes like, if you're looking at, I need to fix the symptom, I need to fix the actual behavior of the lunging and barking and all that stuff, that becomes an equipment thing. And when I say equipment also means treats and all of that other stuff, right? So you can figure out which way you want to do it. But for me, that's an equipment question. Are you going to use treats? Are you going to use different equipment? Are you going to use equipment to leverage? Are you going to work on that? But if you focus on just fixing that without focusing on fixing your relationship, right, you are probably going to struggle to get the results that you want, or you're going to see the behavior come up in other ways, right? That's the underlying thing. When we're just sort of throwing treats and working on, like, I just need you to stop barking, or I just need you to stop lunging. I need you to stop pulling on the leash. When we focus just on that, we don't focus on the why is my dog pulling on the leash? And more importantly, why isn't the dog paying attention to me instead of pulling on the leash, right? That's where I want you to put the focus on. What am I doing? What can I do to make this better? Because, you can look up and Google and get all the techniques for stopping that symptom, but you're not figuring out the why behind it. So ask yourself, how can I be more influential? Not only in this scenario, and this is where a lot of people go wrong because they focus on just like on the walk. How can I be more influential in my dog's life? Right? Influence isn't built in the high pressure moments. It's shaped every single day. Every interaction you have with your dog is an opportunity for you to build up that influence. So start small and low pressure moments, right? For reactive dogs, practice getting your dog behind you when there's no trigger present. This is the first thing I say, because what I always want to remind people is that when we're talking, for me anyway, when we're talking about reactivity, people focus so much on getting the dog to stop doing what they're doing, but they don't focus on themselves. And the thing that you need to focus on is, how can I be a part of this conversation? Right? If my dog sees another dog and lunges to the end of the leash and starts barking, I'm not part of that. I'm behind them. I'm just holding on for dear life. I'm not a part of that. How can I start to make my dog understand that I want to be a part of these conversations? I need to be influential in these conversations, which means, can I ask my dog to get behind me when there's no trigger around? If my dog doesn't like going behind me when there's nothing around, how do I expect to be part of the conversation when there is stuff around? So I practice that all the time. All the time on my walks. I'm practicing my dogs passing the leash behind my back, having the dogs move behind my back. But you can take it one step further and make it a command if you want to. You can make it a command that when, you say the dog has to go behind you, or I know some people teach their dog in the middle. If you have a big dog, though, you have to be careful because, having the dog in between your legs could knock you over. But however you want to do it, but let's do it outside of the triggering events. Can I get my dog to step behind me? Can I be an influence in my dog's daily life every day? And let me tell you, if you are struggling with that, like, what are the things that I can do on a daily that help me become more influential? Give me a call, like book a call. Don't give me a call. Don't call my cell phone. Don't call my cell phone, but book a call with me. Right? I have one-on-one Zoom calls. They're really at a great price right now. It's an introductory price. You can easily just get on my calendar, book a call, and we can talk about that. Ways that you can build that influence on the daily so that you're building this up to be a part of this conversation. Right? Even when you're starting off, you can make it fun. You can make it a game. And you want to make sure that you're part of the conversation. Don't be a bystander in your dog's life, watching the reactivity go down, holding on for dear life. You want to be a partner in this. You want to be in the conversation. Step in, guide them, show them the way, and that starts in the everyday interactions. Okay? So when you focus on strengthening the relationship instead of correcting the behavior, you're building trust in you. And when trust is strong, influence follows. Bottom line. Okay? All right. So final thought in all of this. Let's take that quiz. Why haven't you taken the quiz? Take the quiz, right? If you want to know more about how to really get to know your dog, I want you to take that Dogonality quiz. If you've already taken the quiz, but you haven't yet posted your results inside the Facebook group, post your results. Tell me what you think. How interesting. Do you think that your dog is a calm thinker? Do you think that your dog is a life of the party kind of dog? Like, whatever you get, like, share it and let us know what you think. And we're going to continue talking about this. We're going to continue talking about the different Dogonalities and how you can be the best, most influential, greatest person in the world for your dog's dogonality. And I tell you, when you start to get them at this level, when you start to understand your dogs at this level, everything else gets easier. It really, really does. Later on this week, I'm going to talk to you specifically about each one of those dogonalities. We're going to break down how you can be the absolute best leader for each dogonality profile, and that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm going to share some things with you that maybe you weren't thinking about. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you can make it. That episode will be later on this week. In the meantime, hey, if you're enjoying this kind of stuff, can you do me a favor if you haven't already and just go ahead over to Apple and leave me a 5-star written review. It really does help to push the podcast out to more and more people. If you're not on Apple, you're listening on Spotify, you can rate the show over there, comment, let me know that you are loving the content. If you have a podcast idea or a question, be sure that you are jumping in the free Facebook group, Living Beyond Obedience, because did you know we do monthly Q&As where we take your questions from that group and we talk about them here on the podcast, which is amazing. And as always, if you want more help from me, if you're someone who is like, I'm not sure what, I don't know where to start, and you're looking to get some pointers, you can always, this invitation is always open to you, my friend. You just have to book a call. Book a call with me. It's a Zoom call, one-on-one. We sit down, we talk about your dog, we figure out maybe where there's some holes in your relationship, holes that we can plug. I don't know why I got into a bucket analogy there, but I did. I saw a bucket and it just, there's some holes in your bucket. We just need to plug those holes, and then all of a sudden everything, then your bucket filleth over with relationship goodness. That got away on me. Anyway, here's the point to all of this. I'm always available to help you out. I love sitting down and chatting. The Zoom calls are one of my faves. Getting to know you and your dog and helping you out. I would love to do that for you. The way that you do that is to go to beyondobedience.ca/session, click on the book a call with me, and we can find a spot to chat. And that would be amazing. All right. As always, get out there today, my dog loving friend, and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you are amazing. And so do I. And I really do. I think you are the most incredible dog owner. And I have so much love and respect for you. I can't wait to see you inside the next episode. All right. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.